Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard here with your BHDL2 Week 7 recap. I've also got a couple of announcements afterward as well, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So our opponent for this week was Brandon P., an individual who I quite honestly don't know a lot about. I don't believe we've ever played before, but coming into this match, I was sitting at a 2-4 record, whereas my opponent was sitting at a 4-2 record. So very important game for us, obviously, to try and stay alive. If we were to have any hopes of trying to make the playoffs, we needed a big win in this game to make it happen. And unfortunately, the exact opposite happened as we ended up losing the game 5-0. It was not a particularly close or good game, to be honest with you guys, regrettably. But it just kind of was what it was, as we will get into in a moment here. So, having said that, we're just going to go right over to the team preview screen. So here you can see the 6 Pokemon that he brought to the game on the right-hand side, the 6 Pokemon I brought on the left-hand side, and so he decided to bring the Clodsire, Bisharp, Noivern, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Cinderace, and Cresselia. So there really weren't any surprises on his side. He brought pretty much exactly what I thought he was going to bring. Um, so yeah, obviously whether we could do something about that or not was a different story, but we did anticipate his team. Looking at my team, I did bring the Goodra, Grimmsnarl, Kilowattrel, Palafin, Glimora, and of course the Ogerpon Hearthflame form. So pretty standard for me. Most of which Pokemon that you've come to expect me to bring here in the BHDL2 pretty regularly. So yeah, having said that, we're just going to keep rolling and throw it over to the weekly pros and cons. So here you can see our weekly pros and cons, and no, that is not a typo. This is actually a first here on the weekly recap and preview videos, where I actually have no pros about this game, only cons, unfortunately. And so I did try to come up with a pro, and I thought pretty hard about it, and I just honestly couldn't come up with any pros. For this game, usually I'd like to try and put at least one on there, try and find some silver lining to the game. But this week, unfortunately, there just weren't any. So we're going to go over the list of cons here. And so obviously the big con of the week is that we lost the game 5-0. As I said, it was unfortunately not a very competitive affair. Pretty much the entire game consisted of in the early goings we were kind of jockeying for position, either trying to set up or whatnot, and then the game kind of got away from us where my opponent was allowed to set up with a Bisharp and then essentially just ran through most of my team with that. So yeah, it did not go well for us at all. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have all seen the game if you're watching this, and so obviously, as I said, it was pretty much the exact opposite of what we needed to happen to try and stay alive here in the BHDL2. But other cons of the week here are going to include, I think this was a pretty bad match on paper for me. I think his team matched up really well against mine, specifically with stuff like the Urshifu Rapid Strike was a big problem for my team, but um, also the Cinderace was a problem, the Cresselia was a problem, the Bisharp was a problem. So most of the team, pretty much the core of his team that he brings every week, were all pretty difficult for me to try to prepare for. Which kind of leads into the next con, I should say, which is I feel like my prep for this game was actually pretty bad. So at the time going into this match, I didn't think that my prep was that bad. I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was spectacular, but I thought it was decent. Um, but obviously that wasn't the case because Bisharp was, after being set up, able to just kind of run through us. So obviously our prep was pretty bad if that was the case. I guess I should have tried to put more fail safes in place in case something like a Bisharp got set up and to try and stop it from cutting through my team. But unfortunately, I just at that point in the match didn't really have anything left or anything prepared for that kind of situation. So Yeah, so that's bad prep on my side. I should have definitely put more fail safes in for worst case scenario, and I didn't, and definitely paid the price for it. So, um, but that is going to go ahead and bring us to the last con of the week, of course, which is going to be, as I had kind of alluded to before, with this loss here, the Philadelphia Pidgeys are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention here in the BHDL2 as we drop to a 2-5 record. So, um, even though there is technically one more week of the season left, with this loss and with our differential, this means that there is no mathematical way that we could make playoffs, regardless of what happens in our Week 8 game. So, obviously, extremely disappointing for me. And it's I guess there's uh, not much else I can say other than that. Is that it's just extremely disappointing, especially after the season that we had last season. We had a great season, one of the best seasons I ever had in draft league. Making it to the semifinals last season, and then to go from that into one of, if not the worst draft league season we've ever had this season, is quite the stark turnaround, of course, in the negative direction. So yeah, obviously very disappointing. But that is actually going to feed us over to our announcement here. And that is going to be, regrettably, that the Philadelphia Pidgeys are indeed going to go ahead and forfeit our Week 8 game. So there's a lot of reasons for this. One of the big ones I had already kind of covered, which is with us being mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. This game just doesn't really matter to us, because there's nothing we can do in this game that's going to get us to the playoffs in the last week of the regular season. But moreover than that, um, to be completely honest with you guys, I am kind of burned out on Draft League right now. I'm extremely disappointed with my team. I kind of don't really want to play with it anymore. I'm extremely disappointed with my performance this season. I feel like there were a lot of games that I didn't play very well that led to my defeat. There were some games where luck played a factor as well. There were other games that were just really bad matches on paper that were going to be, really difficult for us to win. But overall, just extremely disappointed with how this season went down, as I had mentioned. Um, and so I kind of also want to, I don't know, just refocus my efforts at this point with Pokemon because it just kind of, like I said, has been a very disappointing couple of months for me here, especially the last month here in this draft league. And so, like I said, there's a lot of factors or a lot of reasons going into that, but I just don't really see the point in playing the last week here. I'm just not into it. I'm just not feeling it. Like I said, just pretty burned out on draft league specifically, and with this team specifically. Just I thought the team was pretty good when I drafted it, and I made a few changes here and there over the season, but yeah, I'm definitely very disappointed with how the team performed, and also disappointed with my performance as well. So yeah, I do apologize to anyone who was either looking forward to the Pidgeys doing good this season, or was looking forward to us playing this final game. I'm just really not feeling it, and I just can't see a reason to play the game at this point. So we're going to go ahead and forfeit the game. Um, that will drop us down to a 2-6 record, which will finish the season off for us. As I had mentioned, not obviously not making playoffs. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be all she wrote for the BHDL2. So yeah, that's all I pretty much have to say about that. Again, I do apologize to anybody who was looking forward to see either seeing us do good, or even seeing the final game. But like I said, it's just not happening for us this season, unfortunately. So, but I don't want to end on a negative note. I am going to try to end on a positive note. And that positive note is going to be what's next for me here and for the YouTube channel. And so, of course, that is going to be a return to singles battles with new original teams. So I do want to be clear about something. I'm not really burned out on Pokemon per se at this point, although I'm feeling a little bit of fatigue. because we've been cranking out content and battles, I think, at a higher rate than I've ever had in the entire, I want to say, like 8 or 9 year history of this channel at this point. Um, but aside from that, I think the burnout is really just with the disappointment in the team, in the draft league, and in my performance in the league specifically. So I'm going to kind of refocus my efforts, as I said, and get into returning to making new original singles teams to have some fun Wi-Fi battles with. I already have a new team loaded up for you guys. Actually, it's coming. We're coming up on the next game. Actually, is going to be my 100th battle here on Scarlet and Violet. So I wanted to do something special for that, which I have something planned for you guys. You'll see that coming out shortly. Um, but also, we are pretty close, about a week and a half away from the part two of the Scarlet and Violet DLC being released, as I'm sure you all know. So I'm looking forward to that, finishing the story as well as getting a bunch of Pokemon back and also some new ones too. Um, so yeah, I am looking forward to all that very much so, but I wanted to kind of crank out battles with this last team that I made before the DLC drops as well. So it just kind of makes sense to me to go that road and do it that way. So I am very much looking forward to the future of Pokemon. I'm looking back to getting into a little more casual competitive play, um, as opposed to the more cutthroat competitive play that we've been into the last couple months. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling positive about that, and I hope you guys are as well, and I hope you guys will be continuing to tune in for all of that stuff. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Thanks for watching again, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. Also, I do still want to mention that there will still be a Captain's Table episode that will recap the entire Draft League season after the Draft League officially ends, and we'll kind of go into more depth as to, what happened there and why we really didn't do well, and just kind of analyze it a little more as per the usual that we do. But obviously, I want to wait till the season actually comes to a close to do that. But in the meantime, we're going to have some more new singles battles for you guys. So stay tuned for all that. That's it, and we'll see you next time.